I say life is like it's like a stream. Okay, you imagine you're in a stream, and the flow is going this way at quite a pace. If you swim, yeah, you might get ahead. The harder you swim, the further ahead you get. You stop swimming, it was very, very difficult. But I set myself a goal, and when I set myself a goal, there's nothing that's going to stop me. Nothing at all. And if you watch Andrew Tate, prime example, and when people start to listen to him and start waking up, they shut him down, they cancel him, they smear his reputation. Whatever he's done in the past, irrelevant. I'm talking about, but I was different. I was obviously the black sheep of the family, just getting into fights at school all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I was told I was stupid, dyslexic, I had a learning disability. But this was a problem for me as a kid or a young man, because if you're in the street or you're up to something and you make a threat to someone, if you don't pay me, blah, 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 then I found myself like excelling, because now I can do things my way. So that's all it was. I believe at school they weren't prepared for entrepreneurs, and I was born to be an entrepreneur. I swear I went into it with the worst negative mindset towards it, and I come out within just 6 weeks going.
Hello and welcome to the Next Level podcast, where me and my guest here share our hard-earned wisdom, practical exercises regarding how we have developed ourselves, along with some of our darkest and most challenging secrets. We'll see where we go with that. Today, I'm here with Nick Chapman. Thank you for coming, Nick.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're absolutely welcome, brother. So let's kick it off with introducing yourself and telling the world what you do.
Okay, so my name's Nick Chapman. I was born in the UK. My whole life I've been a businessman, various different businesses, quite successful. But I think what most people know me for is combat sports. So I was a former MMA champion in the UK, and now a promoter and work with the government to promote MMA in Thailand.
Great stuff. Tell me a little bit about your BKFC career, because that's where I know you from.
Yeah, I think most people around Pattaya know me from BKFC, which is obviously Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships.
Yes.
Being a combat sports professional my whole life, I mean, there's not much in the industry that I have not seen.
Okay.
From being a fighter, from managing fighters, from running gyms, coaching, strength conditioning for fighters, and the business side of it as well. I mean, I've seen a lot. And just being in Thailand for a few years, I identified a potential opportunity with the Thai people's love for fighting. Oh. Yeah, and I figured that Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships would be a good fit for Thailand.
It sounds just like the story of Nick Edgerton with PCA, bodybuilding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was an organisation in England, and he's seen the same opportunity here. And he's done the same thing with bodybuilding. Yeah.
Actually, I've heard about the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of my guests.
Oh, he's been on, is he? Yeah. I've heard about what he's been doing. Yeah. So it's very similar.
Very cool.
Except that he was more accepted by the sports authorities, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Bare knuckle fighting, we were not. So we was up against them for quite some time. We was at loggerheads, myself and the authorities.
Okay.
Which made things challenging.
Got you. How long, just out of interest, how long did it take you to see the idea, to it taking flight?
Okay, so during COVID was when I first started putting the plan together to bring it here. I saw Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships just before COVID started, or when it's very early stages, and I thought it was fantastic. I was like, wow, this is great. I mean, this is exciting. And then I got to thinking during COVID, I should reach out to David Feldman, the president of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. And it took me 6 months to put together a solid proposal. I forwarded it to him. It took me another 3 months to get responses, but eventually they saw it and they were like, okay, yeah, let's give this a go. And then I literally just sat there waiting for COVID to finish. And we were the first major event to take place in Thailand after COVID, once I opened up all the venues. And we actually planned the event, and we had no idea if we'd even be allowed to sell alcohol at the event. And we were selling tickets, and literally 1 week before the event, they announced that we could. So it was a bit of hit and miss there. But yeah, so I'd say a couple of years from birth to
Yeah.
conception and
Great.
obviously first event.
Just out of interest, how is it rooted in England or USA?
It started in Philadelphia, USA,
Okay,
2018.
got yeah, and it's taking off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's taken the world by storm now. I mean, they're in Dubai, Italy, they've been all over the world now. Yeah, Thailand and various other countries.
Yeah, yeah. Can you share more about like that first event, like getting through COVID and getting it all together and looking back and going, wow.
It was very, very difficult, but I set myself a goal, and when I set myself a goal, there's nothing that's going to stop me. Nothing at all. I come across various obstacles. I'm fortunate enough to have a great business partner who's very well connected, who helped me pave the way with the authorities and certain aspects of getting permits and stuff, which was very helpful. But yeah, we were limited to 600 people. We weren't allowed any more than that because it was the first event after COVID. We had like a a ringside dinner, gala dinner. So for the VIPs, we didn't know if they could drink wine at all during the event. We was only supposed to have 4 people at each table. Yeah. So we had to hire all this space. It was very challenging. But once we started to sell the tickets, it just took off. I mean, it really blew up, and we very quickly sold out. Okay. And the first event was arguably a huge success. I mean, it wasn't a great revenue generator because we were limited to how many people we could have in the venue, but we wasn't there for that. We were there to get the ball rolling, and we certainly did that.
Okay, lovely. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's go back to like your upbringing. Share more about whatever you feel you want to, about what you took from your upbringing.
Okay, that's an interesting question. So as a kid, I was very fortunate. I had a great family background. My mum and dad were solid people. My dad was a hardworking man. My mum was a great mum. No, they never drink, never took drugs. There was no arguments in the house. It was a really good upbringing. But I was different. I was, obviously the black sheep of the family. Just getting into fights at school all the time. Oh yeah. Yeah, so they put me into like I wanted to box.
Practicing.
Well, it was in me. I mean, it just was in me. I was a fighter from the day I was born, and that's something my dad could not understand because he was completely against violence in any way, which made my life extremely difficult growing up. Because as a kid, you want to make your dad proud, but I could never do that because the thing I was good at, he hated.
It's rare to hear that.
Yeah,
it's normally the opposite. My dad was a nightmare. Like my dad beat me up, sort of thing.
Oh wow, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's interesting because it's funny, when I went through the courts, I went through child therapy, I went through loads of stuff because of my anger issues and my fighting and stuff. And they kept asking me all these questions, and they'd say the same. They're like, so was you abused? I was like, never. So then they'd go through these boxes, tick all these boxes. And then at the end of the assessment, they said, so what's wrong with you then? Well, that's your job. I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I just want to fight. Let me fight. I wanted to box. I wasn't allowed to box because my mum was worried I was going to get hit in the head too much and turn out a bit punch drunk. So they put me into taekwondo and they put me to judo, and it didn't scratch the itch. It wasn't enough for me. I wanted to fight. I mean, from a very young age, I wanted to fight. So I got expelled from the martial arts clubs, and I got thrown out of tournaments, disqualified for being too aggressive.
I was the same. I used to do karate for like 15 years. I think I've told you. And I was exactly the same. Anyone who's watching this who knows my karate career, it sounds like you're talking to about mine. Well, carry on, sorry.
That's fine. It's interesting. So you can relate. Right. So anyway, I mean, I was fortunate in many ways, but struggled, and school was a problem. I hated it. I just completely hated it. I was told I was stupid, dyslexic, had a learning disability, was disruptive. But I later found out, in actual fact, I didn't have a learning disability. They had a teaching disability. They didn't know how to teach me. I was quite smart, but in different ways. So I got expelled from 3 schools.
3 schools?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then at 13, I was out on the streets. And I grew up on the streets.
How did that turn out?
Growing up on the streets. Yeah. It was a very tough time. I mean, I was 13 years old. My mum did not know I wasn't going to school anymore. She thought I was going to school. So I'd leave the house because it used to break my mum. It break my mum's heart. And I didn't want to see her upset. So I'd get my school uniform on, get on the bus, drive into the town, and then I'd just take off my school uniform or sometimes keep it on. And before I knew it, I was in all sorts of trouble, messing around, and I was hanging around with older kids. And I was getting into fights with adults from a very young age, and I like that. I enjoyed it. I love the challenge.
I swear, Nick, it's not you talking a lot about me. I didn't ever get expelled, like not expelled, but I got excluded a couple of times when I was fighting at the chip shop round the corner with the grown men and going to my friends smoking weed and just wasting my life away, pretty much wasting my karate career away.
Yeah, is it a waste? Because going back to your original question, what did I get from that? So it's an interesting thing. I mean, I went through a lot of hardship, a lot of fights, a lot of internal and external battles on the streets, and it's given me an edge. Like, look, what I learned on the streets is given me an edge in business today that people that never come from that background will never understand. So I've carved a path in business, and I've carved a path in the streets, and I've took the skill sets I've learned from both and created a formula that works for me now, and I definitely have an edge because of that street background.
Sounds like you've got a massive student mentality cap on.
Dude, like, okay, so when I was at school, I hated learning, but the very second I stepped out of school, I took on this this quest to learn, because I was constantly called stupid at school, but the frustrating thing was I knew I wasn't stupid. So I said to myself when I left school, I'm going to prove all of them people wrong, even if they never see it, just for myself. And I now have more than 83 legitimate qualifications. I spent my life studying. That's what I say. You take those skills and that knowledge you learn from study. And I've done very well at university and college because it was a different style of learning. But school, I just absolutely hated. And yeah, so you've got the street smarts and the school, university smarts, and it creates something quite special.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Share more about the education system and some of the key things that you've learned through all those qualifications.
So school, I just thought was just a complete waste of time. I hated every second of it. For me, it was painful. Just being in that classroom, it was so like physically and emotionally draining. I hated it. So I couldn't wait to get out. I literally just left and didn't go back. I got expelled from 2 schools for fighting, and the 3rd school just threw me out because I never went. And that was it. At 13, I was done. But the system sucked.
So what's the difference? Sorry to cut you, but what's the difference with you in school and then you being hungry to learn when you've gone out and it's on your own back, sort of thing?
Yeah, so I left school with a chip on my shoulder, a lot of deep-rooted anger from being called stupid. Knew I wasn't stupid, so I thought, right, I'm going to go to college. And I thought, reading and writing at the time I wasn't confident in because I was just made to feel stupid. So I'd done art and design. And I walked out of that end of that year with the highest score out of 800 students in the whole area. I got an outstanding achievement award. And that's when I thought, okay, if I can do that, I'm not stupid, you know. And then I just went on a mission. So what I liked about college is they'd give you something to do, and they'd just say, just go and get it done, right?
Not forceful.
But yeah, in school, it's like, do this, do that, do this, do that, think like this, sit here, act like that. Doesn't work for me. No one's ever going to tell me what I should and shouldn't do or how I should and shouldn't do it. It's not something I can deal with. But college, just give me something to do. I don't care how, just get it done. Then I found myself like excelling because now I can do things my way. So that's all it was. I believe at school, they weren't prepared for entrepreneurs, and I was born to be an entrepreneur.
I totally understand that.
Right. And
it's because like you've got some control of what you want to learn. You wanted to learn, you wanted to do art.
Exactly. So there's an element of me choosing what I want to do, but more importantly than that is me choosing how I'm going to do it. That's what I need, autonomy.
Creativity. You've got your creativity going.
Absolutely. One thing I love about traveling, we'll talk about in a minute, is problem solving. When you go somewhere completely new, it's a blank canvas, you've got no idea where you are, what you're doing. You have to solve problems. And I love solving problems. So for me, college and university was more about solving problems, and school was about indoctrination. I need autonomy, and I got that at college and university.
Great stuff. What do you feel like the most valuable courses you've gone on from college and uni?
Well, if I showed you my portfolio of certificates, you'd see there's so much. I mean, it's diverse. I mean, I've done enhanced thinking skills. I've done psychology. I've done personal development. I've got bricklaying qualifications up to level 3. I'm a fully qualified greenkeeper. I'm a qualified graphic designer. I'm a qualified personal trainer, sports nutritionist, strength conditioning coach, and it goes on. I mean, I'm qualified in web design and marketing, and
impressive.
So much. And I took something from every single qualification, but I also took things from mistakes that I've made in life. I mean, it's very hard to say. Okay, I think the thing that stood out for me the most, self-awareness. I did a course on self-awareness, and I think that changed everything for me. Self-awareness was probably the beginning of the rest of my life after all the bad stuff.
Okay.
So once I started to understand, I mean, a eureka moment happened during a course I was doing. It was a self-awareness course. I actually had to take for a court order.
For what, sorry?
A court order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I had to take this course, and I took it, and all of a sudden the penny dropped. I'm like, so all those problems, all that misery and pain that's been in my life was because of me.
Responsibility, accountability. Yes.
And I was like, holy shit. So if it's my choices and my actions that caused all that misery, if I change my mindset, my choices and my actions can create the complete opposite, which is happiness, fulfillment, and success. And that's exactly what happened.
Wonderful. Yeah. And like you said, you had to go on that self-awareness course.
Yeah, they made me do it.
Oh, wicked, wicked.
And I hate them for it. I was like, I don't want to do this bullshit. What a waste of time this is. And I swear I went into it with the worst negative mindset towards it. And I come out within just 6 weeks going, wow. And that changed my life.
That's a massive step of your awakening, your consciousness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like when people say like you've got no control of like your mind and your thoughts, and then all of a sudden one day something will switch and you go, no, I can choose to be happy. Yep. I'm choosing to be frustrated. Yep. How long will I hold on to this frustration? Yep. How much is it serving me?
Yeah.
No, some people watch this and it's not clicked yet. Maybe after watching this, something will click.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because I was so deep rooted in misery and pain and suffering. Like I was angry and I was just hell bent on destroying everything around me for a long time. And it literally, within the space of 6 weeks, it's like you just said, the clouds opened up, the sun started shining, it just went ping. Yeah. It's like, shit. But what was really fascinating was that moment happened, and that's when things changed. But I didn't realize how much further I could develop that. So I have now, since that time, that would have been 2006. Since that time, I have spent a lot of my life focusing on personal development in so many areas, just because of that moment. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I totally know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah. But it took me a lot longer to get obsessed with developing myself. Right. I had to go through the heartbreak. I had to go through the trenches of like hating myself. Yeah. Like struggle, like not liking can't look in the mirror. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, I look in my phone sometimes and like the camera comes up. No, I'm good now. Do you know, previously it's just painful. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I feel you there. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough thing. So this is the thing about personal development. I think a lot of people are not prepared for is once you start to see the light, once you can be very self-aware, that's when you've got to live with your past, your mistakes, and then you've got to try and forgive yourself for being a certain person, and that's tough. Yes. I mean, the good thing with me is I was brought up with very strong morals. You know, I always had this rule, even when I was at my worst. I was on the street, I was a thug, and I was like, no women, no children, no animals, no old people. So that basically said, I don't fuck with those people or those categories. But if you're a guy and you step up to me, you're getting fucked up.
Oh, okay.
But I had respect for women, children, old people, and animals. And I always maintain those morals. Plus, I always said to myself, don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie. So I never did any of those things. So morally, I was intact, but I was very unhinged. And yeah, as you go through the whole self-awareness thing, you realize the actions, the decisions, it's very hard to come to terms with.
What other epiphany moments spring to your mind right now?
Ooh. Nothing that I can talk about on camera. Oh, dude, I'm only giving you the tip of the iceberg. My life has been very colourful. I've been through some shit. I'm not going to lie. I put myself there. It was all my own fault. I'm not saying it's anyone else's fault, although for the most part of my life I did. I was thinking how I can. I mean, the learning thing after leaving school was one, when I realised I wasn't stupid. The second thing was the self-awareness. That was really, really important for me. And I found that once I hit the self-awareness button, I found that setting goals was something that just blew me away, because I mean, you talk about goal setting and it talks about the SMART acronym, and I don't buy into any of that crap. Like, I'll just set a goal. And what I learned about setting goals, and this is probably, I mean, there's a few times in my life I've achieved some pretty big goals, and I set them thinking, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
You know, what's the worst that can happen? I'll shoot for that. I might land halfway. I'm starting to smash these goals out of the park. I'm hitting everything. And I learned with goals, forget the SMART acronym. That's all bullshit. Set the goal at the very end with the end in mind, and then just work your way back. So I wanted to be an MMA champion. So I'm watching the fights on TV. So I'm like, okay, I want to be an MMA champion. So then I just work right back. And the first thing I've got to do is take the first step and get in the gym. 10 years later, I won the belt that I set my heart on. It took me 10 years, but I got there. I think goal setting was an epiphany moment when I started to achieve goals. And I'm like, how far can I push this? Like, I'm achieving these little goals. How far can I push this? How crazy can I push these goals? And even to this day, I'm still pushing the boundaries, and I'm still achieving them.
Great to hear. So when you have that long-term goal, 10-year goal, 5-10-year goal in mind, how did you like break it down? Like, was there any daily planning, or like, who was you talking to get it going? Yeah.
Okay. So when I first said to my friends, we was watching UFC on the TV, and I said, fuck, I'm going to do that. And they all laughed. I mean, we're sitting there, all spotty teenagers, hair all down our faces. I'm like, not really doing much with my life. And everyone just laughed. And I'm sitting there dead face like, you lot can laugh. But at that time, I see why they laugh, because that's a long way away to even consider that. But I'm like, no, I'm doing that. And then I started going to the cage rage events, and I was watching a guy called Mark Epstein, and he was holding the light heavyweight title. I said, that's the title I want. And then what do you do from there? If I set a 10-year plan, it's almost like it's never going to happen. It's like climbing up Mount Everest. It's so far away. So I just say, right, I want that belt. And then I come right the way back. Forget everything from now till then. What's the first thing I'm going to do? Well, the first thing I've got to do is get my ass in a gym. Where's the nearest gym? Go. And then start piecing it together there. If you try to plan the whole journey, first of all, best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. Any plan you set is never going to work out the way you want it to. And then when you hit milestones, you're going to feel disheartened because it's not gone the way you expected. So set the end and then just start stepping towards it. And all the time I just look at the end and forget what's in between, because the in-between bit's the tough bit. I just one step at a time and just slowly piece it together. But it does help to have a strategic mind, because things will always not go your way. Like, it could be injuries, or the gym you're at might not be good enough, or whatever the problems are. So it's always good to have a very strategic and flexible mind. But I generally just set the goal, come right back to the beginning, and just take the first step. And I just take it step by step until I get where I'm going.
How do you keep focus, or how did you keep focus throughout those 10 years?
I set a goal.
Yeah.
I just will not let go. I'm like a tramp on a sandwich. I can't let go.
Wow.
And I think there's times where I wanted to. There's times where I'm like, this is not worth it. The Buakaw Saenchai fight, BKFC, wasn't worth it. Got to the point I wanted to sack it in about 4 or 5 times, had enough. But I set that switch in my brain. I'm going to achieve that goal no matter what. And it's not a good thing. It's a double-edged sword, let me tell you.
So you're obsessed with hitting that goal?
I obsess with it, yeah. Yeah, to the point where nothing can stop me. Nothing.
Distractions.
Huh?
You just put on your blinkers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very tough. When I was training for fights, a lot of my friends were out partying, and, you know, they had the girls and the clubs and all that stuff. And of course, part of me wants to go and do it. And I wasn't perfect. I slipped sometimes. I was out partying. But when I had a fight planned, like I set that date, had that opponent, that was it. There was nothing swaying me. Distractions didn't even come close. Once the fight was over, I'd be on a bender for 2 weeks. Getting back in the gym was a problem.
God, yeah.
But then I had the date set, and off I go again. So for me, it was just setting goals. Once I had goal, then again, I just zone in on that goal. And it's like nothing else matters. I've said I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that's one thing about me my whole life. But if I tell you I'm going to be here at 12, I'll be here at 11:30. It doesn't matter what it is, however big or however small. If I've said it, I'm committed. I have to achieve that. I have to achieve that because I said I'll do it. So I don't know whether I'm fortunate to have that mindset or whether I drilled it into myself. I don't know. But if I set a goal, it's going to happen.
Reliability.
Reliability, yeah, but it's more, I don't like letting people down because I don't like being let down.
Yeah.
Right.
Certainly.
But for me, it's more about me doing what I say I'm going to do.
100%.
So this was a problem for me as a kid.
Okay.
Because, or a young man, because if you're in the street or you're up to something and you make a threat to someone, if you don't pay me, blah, 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 I'd carry that through every single time. So it was a double-edged sword. I made threats to people, wish I hadn't, said it in the spur of the moment, or I was drunk, or was I angry, but I always carried through my promise. And that sometimes was a problem.
I hear you.
Because, we all say things when we're drunk or when we're angry,
certainly.
we wish we never said. Well, I see it through.
Certainly. So what was some of your most challenging fights throughout that 10-year period?
In the cage?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, they all had their challenges. There was one guy called David Zetilowski. I talk about this guy a lot. He's actually a friend of mine now. He was one tough motherfucker. So I was at the Troxy where we used to fight. And I watched this fight, David Zetilowski against a guy called Jake Boswick. Jake Boswick was up and coming, one of the toughest at the time. And I watched these two go toe-to-toe in 4-ounce gloves for 3 rounds. And I looked at my mates and went, "God, you wouldn't want to fight him, would you?" Because he beat this Boswick. Although they gave the win to Boswick, I swear, I watched the fight, I'd give that win to David Zetilowski. I was like, "God, you wouldn't want to fight him, would you?" The next week, "I've got an opponent for you. It's David Zetilowski." So I phoned up my pals. I go, "You're not going to believe who I'm fighting next." They said, "Who?" I said, "Zetilowski." They went, "Oh, fuck that." I said, "Yeah, I know. But hey, look, a fight's a fight." That guy tuned me up for the first round. Tuned me up. I was in the fight. He mounted me, just smashed me, hit me so hard, he knocked my gum shield out. And I was exhausted. I mean, he put me through it more than anyone ever has. I went back to my corner. I was slunching. My coach said, "Stand up, breathe. Don't let him see you're tired." And I'm going, and I'm struggling. And I knew that moment my fitness was not where it needed to be because I've been winning fights quickly. This guy put me through it. I've turned around and I'm like struggling to breathe and he's bouncing around. He's ready to go. And I'm like, "Oh, fuck this." So I just put my hands up, walked forward. I managed to get the win in the second round.
Really?
Bro.
Wow.
Just hard. I wasn't giving up. I was not going to quit. He tuned me up for 2 rounds nearly. And I just managed to get him with a sub. And I got up and I said to myself, "Oh, I need to get back in the gym." I was not fit enough. That guy put me through it. So that was probably the toughest fight I've ever had.
Oh, wow. How was the feeling when you won the belt?
Relief. Oh,
the belt.
The belt. So the journey to the belt was really tough. I mean, I've had some real difficult things to go through in my life, but injuries were horrific. I really fucked my body up because my mind is way more strong, way more powerful than my body. So my body breaks because my mind will just keep going. And I've got really bad injuries: knee, hip, ankles, pec, arm, all from, as you can see, the scar. So my body's a mess. So I had some really bad injuries where 2 times the doctor said, "That's it, you're finished, you'll never fight again." And I was thinking the same when the injury happened. So only when the doctor said to me, "You'll never fight again," I went, "Hold on. I'll decide when I don't fight again, not you." So the second the doctor said that, I was like, "Right, fix me up. Just fix me up as best you can and leave the rest to me." So I come back to fight for the title 2 times. The only times I lost was for that belt. So I lost to Jimmy Manuel, who was ranked number 1 in the country at the time, got cut. So they stopped on blood. And I fought Linton Vassell, who was number 2 at the time in the country. He now fights on Bellator. He's PFL now. And he caught me with a rear naked choke because I come back after a horrific injury. I wasn't fit. I won the first round, just wasn't fit enough for the second. And I finally got it on the third. I beat a guy called Ben Smith, who was a former heavyweight champion. I was the underdog and I smashed him in 37 seconds, just obliterated him with knees. But it was a relief because I was 39 and I said, I won't quit. If I hadn't won that belt, then I'd still be there now trying to get it.
Oh, okay.
And that's not good. That's the
to get it back or
to win it.
Oh, okay, got you.
Because I hadn't won it. I'd won a British title, but I wanted the UCMA, the cage rage title.
Oh, okay.
I wanted that. So that was the big one at the time. But if I hadn't won it, I'd still be there now. I'd just be getting beaten up as an old man, but I could not quit. So when I won it, I actually said to myself, thank God for that. Because I knew I'd still be there now. And that's the flip side to having a very strong mindset.
So tell me a little bit about your record.
Fight record.
Yeah.
11 fights total professional, 3 losses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Did you get the chance to like fight in USA, or what was with the USC maybe?
Where do I go with this one? Yeah. So I had 2 scouts come and get me. I had a sponsorship as well with Under Armour. So we're doing alternative training. So I had this contract signed. It was a brilliant contract. It was a lot of money for Under Armour. And it's a great sponsorship to have. I was already sponsored by Hammer Strength for Life Fitness, the gym equipment. Had all these great sponsors.
Cool. And you said before we started filming, you ran your gyms.
Yeah.
As well.
I opened up a gym called Fight Science. It was huge, 20,000 square foot, sponsored by Hammer Strength for Life Fitness. It was the biggest and one of the best of its kind in Europe at the time. And it was all about fighting. And I went to university and done sports and exercise science. So the whole science aspect we brought into the gym, and we studied fighters on a very deep level, biomechanics, psychology, even the nutritional side. And we broke down the fighting into a scientific way, and we tried to, apply that to our fighters to improve them in the ring and cage, which worked very well. So the concept was new, and it took off. We franchised across the country pretty quickly. That did well.
Great stuff. Great stuff. And now going to like when you retired from the fight game.
Yeah.
So you had the belt.
2, yeah.
2 belts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you just leave them, or did you lose a fight?
I was 39.
Yeah.
My body was in pieces.
Okay.
I wanted to fight a guy called Carlos Famola. And we had it set for me to defend the title because he had like the interim belt. I had the real belt. I thought we'd let him give him a chance to try and beat me. Take it, he wouldn't have won. But he pulled out for injury.
Oh, yeah.
So that was another 6 months. And I was like, I'm done. I'm finished now. I'm going to go and live in Thailand. I was 40 years old. Yeah. That's when I left.
Oh.
Yeah.
How old was you when you first come to Thailand?
40.
Oh, was the first time you come to Thailand?
Yeah. Never been before.
Oh, no.
I was too busy fighting and doing my stuff. Yeah.
What was the reason of coming over here?
So I hated England. Still do. Always did. I always wanted to get out. But once I got that belt, I had some properties that did well, a construction company that was making good money, the gyms were doing well. And I thought it's maybe time for me to leave. So I literally looked to sell everything. I started selling absolutely everything. I literally had suits and shoes I was selling off, everything, all my properties. I was accumulating as much money as I could. And I thought, I'll go and live in Mexico, because I'd spent 8 years studying Spanish. I wanted to leave. I was going to live in Spain, but that was too close to the EU. I hate the EU too. So I thought I'll just go and live in Mexico, buy a villa in the mountains and just chill. I thought I'll go and see my friend in Pattaya before I do, because I won't see him otherwise. And I never left. But I come here, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm staying here. I went back home, finished off signing over some properties, and then come back, and that was it. Never left.
How long ago was that?
7 years.
7 years. Got you.
8 years now.
Okay.
8 years, yeah.
What drawn you and what kept you here?
The weather, the food, the lifestyle, the women. My wife is incredible. I mean, she's the best.
And your son looks very cool as well.
He's a dude. Yeah. There was just so much about this place I loved.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do.
Why are you here?
I certainly do. Yeah, the value of, really, like massages, like £3-4, and the atmosphere of the people.
Yeah.
I explain it to people. It's like, like when you go on holiday anywhere, it's like that vibe all year round.
Right. It is, isn't it? And it's just peaceful. It's a very stressful life where I grew up. Just stressful. Everything from driving to the shops. The minute you leave the house, the cameras are on you, or there's rules and regulations on the road. The police are just waiting to stop you, fine you. The whole lifestyle, the system there is just a mess. It's not how life should be. And you come here.
Yeah, a lot of judgment, a lot of prejudice and bitterness.
Yeah. None of that here.
Yes, everyone wants you to win.
Yeah.
Seems like
that's right. And just get on with life. Yeah. Live and let live. Yeah.
So much more freedom.
Yeah. That's funny, because when I come here, out here we got shorts and flip-flops, so we sometimes wear a man bag.
Yes.
Back where I'm from, you don't do that. So a friend of mine saw a picture of me wearing a man bag, and he put on Facebook, he went, "Oh, you're wearing a man bag." I went, "Dude, we're in Thailand. No one gives a fuck." And I knew that second. It was just a silly thing, but I remember thinking to myself, I'm free from all that crap. I don't have to be a certain way for anyone. I can do what I want, live how I want, to an extent, as long as I'm not upsetting anyone. But it made me laugh, that comment.
Yeah, sounds like an immature thing to say.
It does when you're here, but when you're back there, I'd have been the guy going, "Oh, you're wearing a man bag," because that's not the done thing where I grew up. You know, but no one cares here. I'm like, dude, I wear flip-flops from the market. I don't care anymore.
Share a little bit about your upbringing in your local town.
My local town. Okay, well, I was public enemy number one.
You okay to say where you're from?
I'm from Guildford in Surrey. Yeah. I was just a nuisance.
Oh, okay.
Quite frankly, I was a lost soul.
Yeah.
So there's not much really to discuss about
that. Any stories you want to share, or shall we move on swiftly?
Let's move on.
Totally understand.
Tell you after.
Thank you. Okay, let's go into like self-development and philosophy, and how you've managed to stay like so like focused and resilient and obsessed with developing yourself compared to like someone that would have fell off a long time ago.
I've done all my falling off before. I made all my mistakes in the first part of my life, and I learned from all of them. I learned from them once I found personal development, self-awareness, because I went back and I analysed everything. It's like, wow, you know, all these decisions, where it got me, how I ended up where I was, and blah, blah, blah. So I think just reflecting on my past has really pushed me forward. In terms of a mindset, I was always born with a stubbornness, if you want to call it that. Like my parents could never tell me what to do, how to act, where to be, where to go. No one could. Teachers, probation officers, even the police, no one could ever tell me what to do. But what I learned as I got older was it's not a bad thing as long as I control it. So my anger as well was a real negative force in my life at the beginning part. But once I learned how to manage it a bit better, it become a driving force, you know? So I think it's just a matter of perspective. Everything in life is about perspective. Like you said before, you know, it's how you look at life. So for me, after that personal awareness and self-development, I just continued on, just drilling everything, psychology, healthy lifestyle management, nutrition, and how I can just make myself better, and looking at especially the psychological aspects. And I think, as I said before, it's all from reflecting on my past and learning from my mistakes.
What's your mindset regarding obstacles, challenges, life problems when they come at you?
Obstacles and challenges are fun, dude. Like, I just don't find anything impossible. To me, you know, if you throw something in front of me that's a problem or a challenge or an obstacle, to me, it's a learning opportunity. And I embrace it wholeheartedly. I love to solve problems. I mean, there are some things in life which are just very difficult to deal with. For example, you know, illness. That's slightly different. You know, struggling with illness, that's something that I feel for people with. But any type of obstacle, I go looking for it.
Yes.
Because it's true what they say. Smooth seas make for lousy sailors. You know, you don't learn anything if life's easy. You just don't.
No.
So I embrace obstacles and challenges.
I hear you. So what sort of like philosophy or what encouragement or inspiration would you pass on to people that look at problems as a negative?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to be brutally honest with you now.
Please.
I'm way past caring what people think or how they run their lives, because everybody's different. You know, I've grew up with people around me that I wanted to help, try to help them. The minute you turn your back, they revert right back to where they were. So if you can't fix your own life, that's on you. Okay. Find something that inspires you, for sure. Get on and do it. The one person I do care about is my son. So how can I inspire him? Okay. Can you ask me that question again? Because I went off on a tangent.
Sure.
Cut that.
I've got it. Still got it.
Yeah.
So like having that mindset of appreciating the problems you have, like, yes, I've got a bigger problem.
Mm.
That like, and then to someone looking at a problem as, oh no, I've got this problem and that problem, and victim mentality, and like, oh, I've had enough.
Mm. Okay, so yeah.
Overwhelm.
Right. So, I mean, by all means, use the first bit. So I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm way past caring about what people think and how they run their lives. You know, I try to inspire people around me as I grew up, and I just found them, you know, you turn your back on them and they just revert straight back to self. You know, there's only so you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah.
But of course, I want my son to be different. I don't want my son to be to dwell on negativity as such. How do I guide him? How do I stop him from dwelling on negativity? I guess all I can do is be a good role model.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting question you ask. I think if someone's negative, getting them out of a negative mindset is extremely difficult, because, you know, the brain is hardwired for negativity. Yes. Okay. This is why the news is so popular. And this is why a lot of the news outlets, they talk shit. They hype things up in a negative way because people are addicted to negativity.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing I can do is just lead by example. Watch my son, never complain around him. If there's a problem, deal with it in a strategic and logical way. You know, don't freak out and go, oh, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. And as I said to you, I don't really care about inspiring anybody. You know, if you can't fix your own problems in life, I don't believe looking to anyone else is going to make a great deal of difference. And everybody's different. But with my son, every single step of the way, he's going to watch me be in control, be strong, be calm, and deal with problems strategically and not logically.
Yeah, yeah. We mentioned it a little bit about it earlier on, but having that student mentality of like, what can I learn from this? How is my best self gonna like solve the solution?
Right.
You know, rather than homing in on the problem. So that's what happens in it. You're fixated on the problem, the worry, and in all that effort, you could be focusing on the solution.
Exactly.
How am I going to maneuver through this?
Exactly. That's the perfect example, isn't it? So, yeah, I've seen it with people around me that they just fixate on the problem. But okay, there's a problem, but like you've said, what's the solution?
Yeah.
And this is, as I say many times, the one person I want to inspire is my son. So yeah, what's the problem? Sit down. You know, don't freak out, cry, moan about it. Sit down. What's the issue? And then once you calm down, and like we said before, clarity sets in. What's the solution? It's like setting a goal. If you set a goal that seems so far off, it's almost impossible to achieve. Block all that out and say, where am I going to start? Where am I going to start with that goal? So I think facing problems and negativity is the same. I get it. When a problem arises, it's not always easy for you to just put that out your head. So, okay, have a moment, freak out maybe for a minute or two, then shut the fuck up, sit down, grow a pair of balls, and start putting pieces together for a solution.
Yeah, yeah. MMA in Thailand. Talk to me a little bit about that, because that's your current project, isn't it?
Yeah, so with the BKFC, I was at loggerheads with the sports authorities.
Oh, okay.
They didn't like it.
Oh, in Thailand?
Yeah, they didn't like it. But I got some very powerful backers and they supported me, and we still managed to keep it going. But it got to a point where they were like, fed up. So I actually got approached by some really influential people in the sports, mostly Muay Thai, that set up an association of Muay Thai, and they said they'd like to make me an offer. The offer being they want to build MMA as a sport in the country. We'll get the full support of the sports authorities, backing, and all the resources we need. And they wanted me to help spearhead the association. But BKFC obviously can't do both.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm not interested in
yeah.
I enjoyed BKFC, but it's not my passion. I'm an MMA fighter. I'm all about MMA. So it didn't take me long to make the decision to step down from BKFC and focus solely on growing the sport from the ground up here in Thailand, MMA.
Share with me, like, where is MMA in Thailand right now? Where is it currently?
Okay, so up until June last year, it was not even a registered sport.
Oh, okay.
And this was the problem with BKFC. It wasn't registered, wasn't recognised by the sports authorities, therefore you shouldn't be doing it. So it was only June last year they actually recognised the sport. So officially now the government will support MMA and recognise it. So since that time, obviously, we set up our association. So we're at the very beginning. We are actually at the stage of very, very beginnings, sort of training judges, referees, cut men on how to run events.
I'll come and have a fight with you, because that's what I really wanted. I've wanted to do for ages. Like, yeah, like I've got 15 years of karate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we spoke. Yeah.
So yes, one day that's my vision.
Oh, easy to set that up. Easy to set that up. So we're actually in the process of setting up the whole framework of how this is going to grow. So we've got the amateur. So we've actually got like grassroots amateur up to pro and up to high level, elite level MMA fights that are all going to be happening here. So from training camps, international events coming over. Yeah, a lot happening. So there'll be plenty of opportunities.
Great
and
stuff.
This is on camera, right?
Yes, I mean, I've said it.
This is on camera.
Yeah.
So you can't melt out now.
No. I will be in. I will be in.
All right, it's done.
No doubt.
We'll
I
make
look
that
forward to
happen. Yeah, me too. What, you got to get some grappling in though, yeah?
Brilliant. I've done a bit. I've done about a year and a half, maybe 2 years of MMA. Yeah, but I've only had like odd like inter-club sort of like amateur sort of 2 or 3.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. We can stay any level, but
yeah.
You heard him say it here.
I look forward to making it happen and helping you blow it up in Thailand.
For sure. I look forward to seeing you in the cage.
Lovely. Let's do it. Okay. So the transition over to, so when it's not a sport in Thailand, bare knuckle boxing and MMA, but they're still going on, how does that operate?
That's a good question. Okay. So now MMA is a sport. Registered, so that's okay. We can actually operate in stadiums and any sports authority operated venues, but bare knuckle, no. So there's a way around it. So my business partner's family, they're very closely connected to people in Pattaya and Bangkok that basically just write permits. But the permit was to run an entertainment event that involved combat sports. And we couldn't run any of these events in a venue that was operated or controlled by the sports authorities because they'd shut us down. So we had to use hotels, shopping malls, places like that. So there's a way around. So we had entertainment licenses and a permit from the governors of Phuket and a permit from the governor of Pattaya and a permit from the governor of Bangkok. So it's all legal.
Exhibition.
Yeah, it was all completely legal, but it was against the sports authorities' wishes. Yeah. But it's funny because I just wanted to try and make it legal. I actually spoke to the sports authorities about giving us an association of bare knuckle, which they were going to do. It was only when this other opportunity came up, I stepped down and thought, we don't need that anymore. So we're going to legalize it. It was all going to go through properly with the sports authorities as well. But if I hadn't have done bare knuckle, I wouldn't now be doing what I'm doing with the MMA, which I absolutely love.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly the same thing that led me to be doing what I'm doing now, sort of thing. I ran a food business for like 3-4 years, and along with like a social gatherings venue. Do you know what I mean? And I absolutely was in love with it, but then fell out of love with it when it was overwhelming. Do you know what I mean? And then I got off to Thailand. But from those skills of the customer service, the communication with the people, because before I was scared to come out and talk to the customers to ask how the food was.
Oh wow!
You with me?
Why?
Self-doubt. Just fear, and like I also remember talking to my staff member, a lovely girl. She was 16 at the time, and like I was scared to go out, like to deal with a complaint. I'd let her do it, and like small talk. I wasn't into small talk sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And like it was until like I really studied like Patrick Bet-David, valuetainment. Do you know what I mean? And he said, you need to push yourself outside your comfort zone and connect with your customers. They're paying you. So you need to find out and build the connection with them. Do you know what I mean? So once that switch, and I was just started throwing myself out there. And then from then, we started doing live cook-alongs in COVID. Me and my business partner, Claire, every Sunday, live cook-alongs. And that's when I really started extroverting myself into the community.
Interesting.
But before then, I was very scared.
So you've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other, now sitting here in front of a camera doing podcasts and actually being that person that previously you didn't feel comfortable being.
Not at all.
So now that's a prime example of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to develop. That's where the best success happens, outside.
Certainly. So like a few months ago, one of my mentors was speaking to me on the phone for about 90 minutes, and he's a millionaire, big guy, like in fitness industry. Anyway, I cut to the point, and he said, like, why don't you do a workshop like how I do? You want to do what I'm doing, so why are you doing it? I got off the phone. I was like, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He passed away
Oh.
a couple of weeks after.
Wow.
No, this is an healthy guy. Anyway, from his passing, I was full of like rejuvenated with urgency. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, why am I waiting?
Right.
Like, start bringing out your best self soon now.
Yeah.
Don't wait, because you might not have that chance. Just like the story that I said at the start. Like, I asked another guest to come on, and he says, "Yeah, next month." He didn't have next month. Next month didn't come around for him.
Right.
He died. You know, I don't need to get into it, but like just that. I asked myself at the start of the year, what do I need to say to myself to start acting with urgency in life and attacking my fears? Because that comfort zone, jumping outside that comfort zone and going out to my customers, that was the trigger, that was the spark. So right now I just attack things that scared me, and like that's one. Like at the end of the month, I'm going to do a seminar in Bangkok with a few of my speakers. That's going to be my first one. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. I mean, honestly, I mean, the thing is you can try and impart that information onto people, and it might inspire some people, but like you said earlier, until people have actually felt that, they're not inclined to make that leap. But what better way to understand that life is too short to be wasted?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I was, did I say like I'm going to live this next 12 months like it's my last 12 months?
No, but I get that.
I didn't say that.
No.
But I've done that on video, and I've said it a couple of times in my podcast, and that just sparks urgency in me. Do you know what I mean? Like the past couple of days though, I've been thinking, shall I leave the workshop until June and just do halfway through the year? But I've planned, I want to do every 3 months.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I can feel my weak self coming in, and I go, no, I've only got 12 months to live. I've only got 10 months to live.
Yeah.
That comes into my mind. I'm not joking. That comes in. I go, no, act.
Yeah.
And I look forward to sharing that story at the seminar.
Right.
Being totally open and say, right, yeah, I'll keep getting those weak moments, but I don't act on it. I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
So what do you need to say to yourself to start making the most out of your day?
Absolutely.
Like
100%.
it could be your last day.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I see how quickly life flits past and how much I wasted on stupid decisions. So like you, I don't waste any time now.
Yeah.
But that's a great way of looking at it.
So like
And
most of my life, you said, as soon as you finished school, you had that self-development cap on.
Yeah.
It took me like 25, it took me another 10 to 15 years. 10 to 15 years from I left school, I was still drifting through life until I started my food business.
Yep.
And says, right, I want to build £1 million business. I am nowhere near the person that needs to, I'm nowhere near the person I need to be to build it. What do I need to do?
What do I need to do?
Read, obsess
there you
about
go.
developing myself.
That's exactly how I approach things, like I said earlier. So you set yourself £1 million business, that's your goal. And instead of thinking about everything you've got to do between now and then, you've just gone to the beginning and gone, right, what do I need to do to start? And that's the stumbling block for most people, is starting, because they're so overwhelmed by the journey. It's all part of the fun. There's going to be a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
But you did exactly the same thing that I do.
And it's the doubt though. It's you're listening to the doubt and the weaker side of yourself, just how I've just mentioned. My weaker side is saying, oh no, wait another 3 months.
Fuck that side.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because the guy that I'm setting it up with, he hasn't got back to me for a couple of days. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, well, no, don't matter. It's like just 3 months promoting it, 2 weeks promoting it, just follow through. Because it's better if I do it now, because then the June one will be better.
Right. So let me ask you a question. When the doubt sets in, because we've all had it, we're human, it's part of our psychology. When the doubt sets in one simple sentence, what does it say to you? Just one simple sentence.
It says, take your foot off the gas. It says,
right,
don't post this here.
Why? Because you can't do it?
Self-doubt, considering what other people will think. Okay,
but my question to you is this. If I said to you, take your foot off the gas, because I don't think you can do that, you'll tell me to fuck myself, yeah? Get out of here. You would tell me. And if anyone else that you didn't respect and hasn't achieved what you're setting out to achieve told you what your negative side is telling you, you'll tell them to go stick it too, wouldn't you? So this is how I look at it when self-doubt kicks in. I treat it no different than anyone else telling me what I can and can't do.
Yeah.
Because people all my life have told me what I should and shouldn't do, what I can and can't do, how I should and shouldn't do something. And I don't listen to them. So I treat my self-doubt the same way I treat those people. And that's how I've overcome that.
Yes. Another one helps me is, how is this thought serving me?
Right. If it's not serving you, get rid of it.
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a muscle, isn't it? It's a muscle that you have to continually train every single day.
Yeah.
It's not just right now am my higher self for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Because I've said that I'm going to live these next 12 months. Like, just doesn't mean every single day I'm doing that. I've got to continually remind myself. I've just said that.
Yeah.
I've said I'm going to live this life. It's gave me so much energy. Go back to that. Go back to that feeling.
Yeah. Do you know what you've just said is actually something that's really had an impact on me. You know, when I first started in the gym, with anything in life, whether it's learning a technique in kickboxing, or whether it's a personal development mindset thing, or whether it's just building a muscle, repetition, and it takes time and it takes effort. The problem with people today, in fact, the problem with human nature, is that people want it now. It doesn't exist.
Gratification.
Right, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You don't get anything in life worth having easily and instantly. It's just not possible. And it's like I've spoke to people in the past about their negative mindsets, and this is why I don't try to inspire people now, because it's just hard getting through to people, because they're so tuned into negativity. They're addicted to negativity and I don't even know it. But it's like every day you've got to work at positivity. You've got to work. You've got to fight the human urge to dwell and simmer in negative emotions and mind thoughts. You have to fight it every single day. And 6 months you might be great at it, but if you stop fighting it, you'll revert back. It really is that simple. I say life is like it's like a stream. Okay, you imagine you're in a stream and the flow is going this way at quite a pace. If you swim, yeah, you might get ahead. The harder you swim, the further ahead you get. You stop swimming and you just go straight back to where you started. And it's the same with everything in life that you want, whether it's getting strong, whether it's getting fit, whether it's building your mindset, whether it's beating depression, whether it's beating addiction. You just got to keep swimming and never stop. And the minute you realize you can't stop swimming, that's when you settle in and realize that this ain't easy. Nothing in life worth having is going to be easy. And I've just got to keep on swimming.
Yes.
And that's exactly how life is.
That's one of the best metaphors I've heard on the podcast. So
it's true though.
Thank you, Nick.
No
Beautiful.
problem.
Keep that in mind.
Just keep damn swimming, man.
Keep swimming.
Because you'll either drown or go right back to where you started.
So there's what's gone through my mind recently is like there's so many gyms to keep fit. Yeah. And the importance of looking good, growing like strong muscles and impressing people with how you look. Okay. Why? Well, I feel there's not enough focus in training this and the importance of this.
For sure.
So people would prefer, I'm saying in general from what I see, they'd prefer like to spend their money on getting their body fit, yeah, and if any, time and effort, not just time. Not because if you've got no money, you've still got time and you can still pick up the book without paying a coach or anything, buying anything. You can still pick up the book. Why do you think that is?
Oh, do you want to hear my theory on this? Because I've thought about this a lot. Okay.
We're on the same wavelength.
Here's where it gets controversial.
Excellent.
Right. Especially in the West, it's called indoctrination. Right. You go to school. They teach you to be a robot, a machine. They don't want you thinking. They don't want you being anything more than a slave to the system. So it starts at school. I'll get to this point in a second. At school, they teach you how to think, where to go, where to be. Get a job. Get a girlfriend. Get married. Have a kid. Get a mortgage. Boom, got you trapped in the system.
Settle down.
Trapped. Then the narrative that you're constantly spewed at is to look good, feel in shape, okay? So the reason that people don't think about their mindset is because they're not trained from birth to think about their mindset. They all want to look good because they want to get the girl, they want to get married, they want to be in shape because all these magazines, all this media portrays this healthy shape, this body, but they're not feeding you with information about how to improve your brain, how to be a better person, how to be an entrepreneur, how to think outside of the box. The system is just set that way because the rich, the powerful, the elite, they control the whole world through narratives. And the narrative is, look good, get in shape. That's okay. Don't think, don't be an individual, don't be an entrepreneur. That's not okay. And that's my view. The whole world is slaves to the elite. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Support the system.
People don't know how stupid they are. That's my opinion. And if you watch Andrew Tate, he's a prime example. And when people start to listen to him and start waking up, they shut him down, they cancel him, they smear his reputation. Whatever he's done in the past, irrelevant. I'm talking about what he believes in, the narrative that he's trying to push now is everything the elite don't want you to be. So that's my view on it. So if you want to set up something to help people break out of these shackles and start thinking freely, I'm all about supporting that, bro.
Thank you, Nick. Really appreciate it.
But if you get to a point where a lot of people start listening, you're going to face some pushback. Because they don't want you thinking freely. We need slaves, bro.
Sure, I'll have some great stories to share along the way. Well, that's what we're doing here now.
Absolutely.
That's what we're doing here now.
Doing
our best to share our wisdom, our hard-earned obstacles to help others. You know, beautiful thing. Tell me about you wrote a book, didn't you?
I've written a book, yeah.
I think I've thought too much.
Yeah, I've written a book. I've written a book about my life, basically. And a lot of people say, well, what makes your life so interesting? Well, you're never going to find out because I'm never going to release the book. But trust me, if I release the book, you'll understand that it's a very interesting story. But I've written the book because I think one day I want my son to read it and my son to see what I went through, how I overcome it. Because, you know, we talk a lot here about mindset and about strength of character and things like that. But there's things in my life I can't ever talk about until I'm dead. Then obviously then I won't be able to talk about them. It'll just be in my book. There's things that I've been through in my life that have made me the hardest human being I've ever known. And I mean physically, emotionally, and mentally. I've trained myself to be so tough. And in the book, it talks about all of it. So I want my son to know it. I don't want anyone else to know it.
Great to hear. Thank you.
I'm not trying to sell the book because I'm not even going to release it.
Tell me about like your traveling experiences.
Traveling's great.
It's lighten the mood a bit.
Yeah. So I've been to 36 countries.
Okay.
I track them because I love to travel, love to see new cultures. As you know, I just got back from Serbia, 2 weeks in Serbia, freezing cold, interesting, not going back. I love being in Thailand.
What was interesting about it?
The culture, the people, they're quite nice people, the food, just the architecture. I love to see architecture. When I went to Prague, Prague's got some of the nicest architecture in the city I've ever seen. Did you know that? Prague. No. Romania, the women there are incredibly respectful, incredibly well presented. Like, I don't know why it's different to anywhere else. They just seem.
I think we need to. Okay, sorry, mate.
No, fine, fine. Yeah. Oh, are we going to carry on?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay,
we're not
cool.
finished.
All right,
no, we're not finished. No.
Oh, we go back to the question about traveling.
Yeah. I don't know what you need to do. Yeah, go for it. Carry on. But this book's great.
Yeah,
this book's great. Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't. I've read some of the others.
Sorry, we had a little bit of a technical itch. We're back.
Okay, we're back.
Run it.
So do you want to ask the question again? Traveling.
Tell me about your traveling experiences. You mentioned Serbia.
Oh, so traveling. I've been to 36 countries. I track them because I love traveling. You learn so much from traveling, just seeing the different cultures, meeting different people. It's all about, as I said to you, when I travel, like in Serbia, it was interesting because I'm in Serbia. I've got Thai baht. They're like, what's that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's Toy Town money to them. There's no one that would change it.
Okay.
So I'm now there with no money. I should have thought about this in advance, but they said, well, we can change dollars. Why can you change Thai baht to dollar? No. Well, I've got no dollars, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what do? It's a problem. Have to try and fix it. Obviously, I got my Visa card. It's different things you can, but you have to slowly work your way around. It's like being out of your comfort zone. You learn so much about yourself, about life in general from traveling. It's so important. But Serbia was really interesting. Very cold. I don't want to go back because it's just too cold for me. But traveling ultimately for me is a wonderful experience, and you're just out of your comfort zone in new surroundings, new cultures, new people, and you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah. It's like when I finish a book, like, you know, like I feel like I've leveled up.
Yeah.
Like when I go to a country, I feel like I've leveled up.
I agree, actually. I never thought of it like that. So interesting that you say that. I do get that same sense.
Yeah. Tell me about like when you was in Serbia, like because you said you was doing an event.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So I really like what you just said, by the way. I'm really
Thank
just
you,
processing that now.
Thank you.
It's like
We're very alike.
It's true, you know. Anyway, that's a great saying. I'm going to remember that one. I'm probably going to use that. You'll hear me say that on the next podcast, and I'm not going to give you any credit.
Please, no, you go for it. Well, that's what I like. That's what I want. When my guests come on, like I learn from them, and they learn from me. Like, do you know what I mean? So thank you for letting me know.
I really like that. Okay, so question: what was interesting about Serbia?
I know. What was the event?
So International Mixed Martial Arts Federation is the biggest MMA federation in the world. 136 countries are federations underneath IMAF.
Okay.
We were running the European Championships there. It was a 10-day long event, 260 fights per day, from youth category C, which is 12 years old, up to seniors and masters, which are adults. So we've got categories from 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, and it goes on. So we had 4 cages running simultaneously for 14 hours a day. There was like 12 to 15 officials on each cage, plus commissioners, plus media.
How many cages, sorry?
4.
4 cages, wow.
On the Worlds, we have 5.
Yes,
so it's a huge event.
And you was the chairman?
No. So I'm the federation head of Thailand MMA. So I was there representing Thailand. I was looking at how they operate, just watching everything, seeing how they do the weigh-ins, and because I have to report back to the sports authorities here in my board to tell them if I think this is something that's good to come here, and nothing but good things to say about it. And obviously my report says, yeah, let's bring them here. So we're hoping to do a Thailand Open in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's the first time I've announced that.
Great stuff. Okay. What countries haven't you been to yet that you want to visit?
God, loads. I've been to 36 countries, and I still want to see more. Japan.
Yes.
Desperate to get to Japan.
Yeah.
Brazil. Haven't been to Brazil.
The festivals and carnivals.
Well, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I want to go to jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is where it started. The traditional jiu-jitsu started in Japan, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu is like an offspring from that. They took Japanese and just made it different and in some ways better, in my opinion. Yeah, so Japan, Brazil, definitely 2 places I want to go. And you know, to make you laugh, I've never been to Mexico yet.
Okay.
And that's obviously where I was headed before Thailand.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So I've never been there. So I really should go there.
That's so fire Thailand is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just changes your plans, doesn't it?
Well, I spent years studying Spanish to go and live in Spain,
really?
but then I didn't want to stay in the EU. So I said, I'll go to Mexico. That's when I said I'll come here first, and then never left. So I've never been to Mexico. So they're the 3 main places that I want to go to. And then after that, anywhere.
Yes.
Like anywhere.
Have you been to USA yet?
Yeah. A few times, yeah.
Got you. Let's talk about, because I've got some fighters coming in, and I've had a coach, Coach Chris in. Let's talk about One Championship and what you think of it, how it operates, and what's your view on One Championship?
Well, I worked for them, didn't I? I was a referee. So I was an MMA referee for One Championship. I've done, I think, 10 events. It was interesting. I'm not a fan of MMA in a ring, boxing ring. It should be in a cage. Although they do use a cage, they often use a ring as well, especially for the One Warrior series that used to happen in the Philippines. So I've been to them. I've had a lot of experience working with One and traveling around with One Championship. I think they're great. I mean, especially their Muay Thai. They've modernized Muay Thai. 4-ounce gloves. They've made it a faster paced sport. It's way better for the Western audience to really engage with now. Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, the product they've created with Muay Thai is incredible. Their MMA, it's okay. I don't like the global rule set. It's different. I prefer the unified rules. There's a few reasons for that. And bearing in mind, I'm qualified judge and referee in both. Yeah. So for me personally, I prefer the unified rules. But other than that, I think One Championship's great. I mean, they're doing wonderful things for Asian fighters.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Who's some of your most favorite fighters
in whatever
in One Championship?
In One Championship, I mean, everyone loves Rod Tang for Muay Thai, but for me, one of my favorite fighters in the history of the sport is Stamp Fairtex. And the reason is, when I first come to Thailand, I worked for Fairtex, and I was part of the management team when she was training to become a fighter, an MMA fighter. And
how old was she?
Oh, this was 8 years ago, so she would have been 19.
Oh yeah.
She was a white belt in jiu-jitsu and complete beginner. I saw heart, determination, and drive in her that I've not seen in anyone. She is the most deserving person I've ever met in the sport. She deserves every ounce of success. She's nice, she's friendly, she's hardworking, just a great kid. And I used to call her superstar. And she's so humble. She's, oh, no. I say, let me tell you something. I've been in this industry 25 years. You're going to be a superstar. I knew then. I could just tell. We had fighters come over, heavyweights in the UFC, that would come on the mats and fight and grapple. She'd fight them. And no matter how many times she lost or got submitted, she just kept coming back as hard every time. For hours on end, she'd never stop. She'd fight. There was never any quit, never any loss in her. She just kept fighting.
Oh, wow.
But she also got this great attitude, and she's working to learn her English, and it's everything about her.
Just what I wanted to hear, actually.
Yeah, she's a superstar. And I was right. Now she's a superstar.
No, when you said, because I was just about to ask you what's her English like.
Right.
Because I've got her on my vision board with you, which I can tick off now.
Right, okay.
So maybe you can broker the deal for us.
Well, it's easy to put you in touch with Stamp. So I don't think her English is good enough for an interview yet.
Okay.
But when I first met her, she didn't speak a word. She was teaching me Thai. But she's definitely got a lot better. I wonder if she's good enough for an interview. I can find out.
Please do, Nick.
I'll leave it with me.
She's
wonderful. So she's one of my favorite fighters. Back in the day, there's fighters that I used to watch, like the rough and ready Tank Abbots and Ken Shamrocks back in the day, and Hoyce Gracie. I've met them all.
Oh, really?
Tell a lie. Tank Abbott I didn't meet. But yeah, and there's just hundreds of fighters that, you know, I've been impressed by over the years.
Have you been to the UFC?
Have I been to it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, many times. I've cornered there and been backstage many times. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wicked, man.
Yeah.
Oh, how was that for you?
I mean, it's part of what I do, isn't it? It's great. Yeah. I've got UFC kit from cornering fighters, and you know, it's exclusive kit they only give to people that have been in the corner. So I've experienced it. As I said, many years ago when I was fighting, I had two UFC scouts come to see me. Back then it was real rough. It was early days. We're talking 15 years ago. They wanted to put me into the UFC, but for various visa reasons, I couldn't go. So other than fighting at the UFC, I've seen quite a bit of it. And funny, because a lot of the guys I grew up with back in the UK, we started doing MMA. They're now running and officiating all the events in Europe.
Okay.
So you see them the guys walking out to the ring and standing in the ring and holding the gate, and they're all my friends that are running that.
Okay.
So yeah, we're heavily involved with them.
Great to hear.
I've got strong links in Vegas as well, in the casinos out there. So we've got some pretty good links to the UFC.
Wonderful. So let's talk about the future and what's your next 5-10 years goal, looking back to your previous goal of like that belt that you accomplished.
Okay, so I mean, I set goals. One was get university, one was win that title. Obviously business goals, which are not interesting, but I achieved them. Financial goals, I achieved them. I set goals here to bring BKFC to Thailand. I did that. Then I always had a dream to put Buakaw and Saenchai fight together. Didn't even know how I was going to do it. I did that. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. It was a nightmare. My goal now is to build the MMA Association in Thailand. And I want to see Thai nationals fighting in the UFC in the next 10 years. We've already got one.
Oh yeah.
We've got one more that's on his way. I think he's going to be there, but I'm talking about bringing grassroots from the beginning, youngsters up through IMAF to actually competing on the UFC. I have some other goals as well, which I can't talk about for legal reasons. I'm actually signed under an NDA, but they're almost, well, one of them's a $500 million deal.
Really?
So I have to get that done. We've been on it 3 years now. So that's a huge goal for me. That'll be the biggest goal business-wise that I've ever achieved. And I think we're close. But that'll be public news. That'll be public news, but I can't talk about that yet.
Totally understand, Nick.
Yeah, so we have goals. What about you? You weren't ready for that question.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll throw it out there. My most grandiose goal is to be in front of like tens of thousands of people giving a motivational, inspirational speech and selling them the principle of appreciating the obstacles and challenges they go through, because they can build you the the most compared to all the little smaller. So welcome them. Welcome all the obstacles you're going through.
Yeah.
Accept them and have a student mindset.
That's great. So that I can absolutely see you achieving that. And I love that you keep, before we sat down, you kept on about obstacles. And as much as my answer to your question about obstacles wasn't very impressive, I can't emphasize enough how important the way we approach obstacles is to our future. So I love that you're honing in on that. I wish I could be a little bit more insightful with my response, but for me, I just see them as a stepping stone to get where I need to be. But with you, you're much deeper analysis of that. I think is going to be, I'll be watching that.
Thank you. Alongside the urgency,
right?
Those are the two things that I feel is the most valuable.
Right.
If you can take anything from me,
Gotcha.
is the importance of urgency and appreciating all the problems you're going through in life.
Right. So the urgency and embracing the problems.
Yeah,
I should go like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm serving you, world.
I like it. I'll be watching.
Thank you so much, Nick. It's been an absolute pleasure. So is there anything else before we get into some sort of visualization meditation?
I'm not doing all that mumbo jumbo crap. I'm joking. No, I do a form of meditation, but I mean, I believe in it. I believe in it a lot. I don't do all the whole chanting and stuff, but I generally lay on my bed and think. But okay, if you're going to put me through something, we can try.
Yeah. So get comfortable with where you are, and I'm going to keep it very simple today.
Yeah.
So no need to close your eyes. If you do, go for it.
Yeah.
But let's just appreciate the fact that we're alive today. Appreciate that we have the courage to be open with the world and share our past history, our stories that have helped us. And touch wood will help you who's watching this now. Appreciate our senses, appreciate our eyesight, our hearing, our bodies that carry us around all day. Appreciate all the people in our lives that teach us lessons. And now, dive deep into your past history and appreciate all the things that have helped build your character. And say to yourself, thank you, thank you, thank you. So whatever you've learned from it, all the opportunities you've had, appreciate them and say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, moving forward into the present moment, here and now. Appreciate everything you have going for you now, all the value you have in your life, roof over your head, the opportunities you have, the food on your table. Appreciate it. The clothes on your back, your current mindset. Appreciate it. Wherever it's at, appreciate it. Accept it. I give yourself thanks for watching this podcast right here, right now. That's revolving around self-development, acceptance, gratitude, spirituality, and leveling up, of course. Now, move forward into your future and give gratitude to all of the opportunities and relationships that you have yet to make that are waiting for you. Give thanks to your heightened level of consciousness that you will have. Give thanks to the higher level of love, gratitude, and appreciation you will have. And say, thank you, thank you, thank you. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, whatever you appreciate, say to yourself, thank you, thank you, thank you. And raise the love within inside you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for holding your concentration throughout the podcast. And if you want to support the podcast, you can go over to my links and you can buy me a coffee. It would be really appreciated. But at most, I ask, and I'm fully appreciative for you to watch the content and share the content with anyone you feel will help them level up through whatever obstacle they're facing in life. Whatever's resonated with you throughout this podcast, please let me know in the comment section. Please let me know if there's any way I can help you. I'm here. If you want one-on-one consultations with me, I'm here. Drop me a message on my Instagram, or there's other links in the bio of this podcast that you can work with. Is there anything else, Nick, you'd like to share with the world on this podcast right here, right now?
No, but I will say this. I absolutely agree with the gratitude thing.
Thank you.
That's something that I think a lot of people do not realize. I was reading a book the other day and it said, the life I live now were once the goals of my past. And this is the thing, like I'm here now and I'm constantly chasing the next goal. And I do now have a lot of gratitude, but before I didn't. And I was just chasing. So I was never happy because I forgot to realize that the life that I was living was once a goal.
That was the dream.
Right.
This was the dream.
Exactly.
Me being here,
yes,
like with one of the most influential people in Thailand, especially in Pattaya, me having the courage and balls to sit here and share all my obstacles. This is the dream. I'm currently living it.
That's brilliant.
So give thanks and
yeah,
just keep pushing. Sorry, carry on.
No, I'm listening because it's great. It's absolutely, you just brought it out of me when you were talking about gratitude, and you're so right on the gratitude thing. And like I say, the life I'm living now was once a goal of my past. And if you don't stop and say, shit, I made it, you're never going to appreciate it. You're always going to be wanting more and feeling like you're missing out on something. So gratitude is so important. Yeah.
It seems like it's a case of not enjoying the ride right here, right now.
Yeah.
Instead of think too far in the future, lack of presence.
Yeah.
Presence, really. Yeah. Presence, acceptance, appreciation, love, gratitude for whatever you have right
100%.
now. 100%. So same way, like I'm living my dream now. Like even if you're in a nightmare, appreciate, it's hard to say, but appreciate that can be the making of you.
Yeah.
The making of me was that hell that I've gone through.
Yeah.
My heartbreak through my ex-partner, my business is going down.
Yeah.
If that didn't happen, I would not have the stories and the wisdom to do this now.
Absolutely.
So you have to harness all the obstacles you're going through.
Do you know, that's a really interesting point just to finish up on. I've been through hell and back multiple times. And if I could go back in time, wouldn't change any of it. That's a strange one, isn't it? The pain and suffering I went through wouldn't change any of it. Yeah. That shows you how much, when you learn from your mistakes, how important it is. Like that I would go through all that pain and suffering again just to be where I am now. And that says a lot, because I know people don't know about what I've been through, but if you did, that's a hell of a statement I've just made. So think about that.
And it's hard to, while you're going through it, to have that mindset until like you've fully healed and fully accepted it. Yeah. So you've got to get in a place of accepting solution forward.
Don't you wish if I could have any skill, it'd be the ability to tell people when they're going through hell, trust me, go through it, keep going, just get through it, because one day you'll look back and it'll all be clear why you went through it, and you wouldn't change it for the world. But you can't tell someone that when they're going through it. To them, it's like the end of the world. It's not worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Just keep going. I think it's a Winston Churchill quote. When you get to the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and hold on. Just hold on. Just keep going, man. Or when you're going through hell, keep going. Yes. That's a Winston Churchill quote.
It's that overwhelm, isn't it? It's that overwhelm and the focus on the problem instead of what can I learn? Put the student cap on. Right. I'm at university every single day. This is life, the life of university.
100%.
And that will give you the qualifications to be where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't done no psychology university. I haven't been to university. Main qualifications I have are the tough rock bottom times. Life. That's my qualifications. Universe. When I get a client, and like that's how I sell myself. I say I've been through heartbreak, what you've gone through. Yep. I've got the roadmap. Yep. I haven't been to university. I've got the roadmap. I have it. Just like people in university, business teachers, they may not have run a business, but they've got the practical. Yep. in game.
Experience, yeah, experience.
Yes, wonderful. That's one of my favorite conversations
I
to
bet you say that
date.
to everyone.
I don't. I might have said it 2-3 times, but because like I'm building my character as the time goes on,
Yeah.
I'm getting deeper with my guests. So I just can see it being better and better and better.
Very good.
Okay, lovely.
Very
Thank
good.
you again, Nick.
My
An
pleasure.
absolute
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching, world. Please hit the share button. Let me know what you think and come back once again where we will do the same again. Much love. Thank you.